Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. Now we got an interesting one today and it's full of a lot of information, so I'm going to try and explain this as well as I can, which might be a bit difficult, but we'll try and get through it. Hopefully you can understand this. So what we're going to do is we're covering a battle analysis, start to finish, and it's going to show you sort of how the weapon systems work, some of the hidden mechanics within the game, such as target acquisition and armor, and how that all sort of comes together into a battle report. And we got a bit of a video and stuff going on as well. So big shout out to Null Pointer, because this is literally all of his information. I asked him if I could do a video on this because I think it's really good and really helpful for players to understand the mechanics of how fleets are sort of working, the target acquisition, and all that good stuff. So what he's managed to do is he's managed to analyze step by step the battle and the communication between the NetEase servers and the game. So we get complete information on like the whole timeline, the weapon targeting, the priorities, the delays, damage inflicted, random effects triggered, all sorts of really good information that we don't easily have access within the user interface of the game. I will have a link. This is a full document that you can go through. It's got the video itself in there as well. So I will drop a link so you can have a read through this yourself if you find it easier to read and see that way. There will be a link, so that'll be in the description, and I'll pin a comment as well with this in, so you can go have a look physically and sort of work through it yourself. But I will try and explain it as best as I can in this video. So, first off, let's set the scene. We have 10 FG300s multi-role frigates, no upgrades whatsoever. They are completely bog standard basic FG300s, which you're all very aware of. Some reason, our enemy, which is a privateer fleet level 3, that's the very basic one that you can get pretty early on. It's got 2 Grim Reapers and a pair of Ranger high-speed frigates. And for some reason, the Grim Reaper and the Ranger have a plus 4% bonus on damage. I'm not sure if that's upgrades on them or if it's something to do with NetEase going, we should probably make it a little bit harder for him, so we're going to increase the damage of these ships. So we're going to have lots of tables and stuff like that up on screen. So just to explain what they're each doing. Timing, when the event occurred. So the time at which something happened, weapon attack, acquisition, etc. Action, what occurred, weapon attack, target acquisition, etc. Ships, the ship that makes the action, so the FG300, which one, A, B, C, D, E, etc., because there's 10 of them, or the Grim Reaper or the Rangers. The weapon, which does the action, that's the name of the weapon. So in the FG3 case, it's the FG300 SG1150. That's its cannon that's on the FG300. The damage installation number, and that's the damage done by each installation plus the sum. When you see a 0 in red, that means it's missed its target. We then have the target ship, which ship it's targeting, and the target's HP, so you can see the difference between the HP as it changes from the damage. So let's have a look at the quick look at the battle report, which will be up on screen now. Battle starts at 103.30.869 and ends at 1:07:47. That means this battle took 4 minutes 17 seconds. The players lost 2 FG300s, and the pirates have lost all ships, both Rangers and both Reapers. So you can see here, 41.6k damage done by the FG300s, and 26.89k dealt by the Ranger and the Grim Reaper, and we have the graph there showing the damage being dealt over time to both fleets. So, let's go to the battle analysis. Now, the battle analysis starts with target acquisition, as we can see here. from 103.30 all the way down to 103.33, which is when the first weapon attack hits for the FG300s, or the Reapers in this case, and that's due to the amount of time it takes for weapons to acquire targets. So several things in the first part. For the weapons, the first hit comes after a delay. For the FG300s, 3 seconds. The FR1385C, which is the cannon, the railgun on the Reaper, is 6 seconds. The FG130B, which is the anti-air cannon that the Rager has, the Reaper, which is 2 seconds, and then 4 seconds and 3 seconds for the Reaper's missiles, and then its cannon anti-air system. When a ship is destroyed, new target acquisition is launched, and these follow the same rules of target acquisition, and this is where you'll get the repeat and cycle up into target acquisition, then a weapon attacks, ship dead, and then back to a target acquisition, weapon attacks, ship dead, and etc, etc. So rule number 2, each weapon on the same ship can engage a different target. It's just something quite interesting to note, and I'm going to say this due to the fact that it's very, very noticeable on the Chimera. The Chimera having multiple weapon systems just targets like a billion things, then fires all its weapons at all of them, unless you pick up the strategy on it, and that's where you see like a massive damage increase on the Chimera. Although technically it shouldn't be a damage increase, but it seems to appear to be one. But that's because it targets all its weapon systems onto a single ship, and that's what makes it very, very strong later on. So, in our case, the ships are in the same priority and the same row, so the ship target priorities don't mean so much here, but genuinely we're always going to go for target priority, row by row, and then its next target priority, row by row, which is how this will work. In our case, with the FG300s, they are targeting frigates first. So first off, they're targeting frigates in the front row. There isn't any, so it goes to this mid row. It targets frigates in the mid row, and then it goes to the rear row, and it'll target frigates in the rear row. And then its next target priority, front row, mid row, rear row, etc. In our case here, because the ships are all the same priority, the same row, we don't really have proof, but I believe that's how it's worked. That's how it's worked when I've been personally testing this. And if there is more than one ship type that meets rule 3, which is order priority, then order lines or order rows, they are chosen by priority. Priorities are a bit weird. We don't quite understand how that works at the moment. If there are multiple ships of the same type, you'll notice things like Tauruses in the destroyer category. You can have different ships within that front row, including the Tauruses, but the Tauruses seem to die first. So we're not entirely sure what's going on there. We believe it might be damage related. Things that have higher damage output or a higher alpha output on a single weapon will be prioritized first, which is why you see your Tauruses dying off before other destroyers in the front row. Same for Xenos as well. Xenos seem to get targeted quite quickly, even though they're rear row. They seem to get attacked quite a lot. Not sure what's going on there either. So yeah. In our case, the Rager has a higher priority than the Reaper, so the Ragers get targeted first. So Rager A and B are distributed over the FG300s, and only the FG300 B, C, and E are targeted. Not sure why that they've chosen those specific targets either, but that's how it's worked. It's randomly picked from our 10 FG300s to target B, C, and E. And there. So, filter on the FG300A for this point and the first attacks that it makes. So we know the FG300A has 5 armor, 9,650 HP. The weapon is the FG300 SG1150. It has a 70% hit rate. We'll talk about hit rate a little bit in a second. It has 3 installations, that's 3 weapons, doing 25 damage each. There is a cycle of 1, so it fires 1 shot. And rounds 3, due to the fact that it's got 3 weapons. Acquisition took 3 seconds with a 4-second interval and a 3 delay. So, installations fire simultaneously their rounds during the delay and then recharge during the interval. So we can see here that we've got 3 weapon systems in the damage installation of 1. First 2 missed and then we hit 20. And we can see here that in the second installation, the first installation hit, that's the weapon installation, missed, and then the 2 second installations all fired and hit. And in the third damage installation, all 3 weapons fired, all 3 hit. We can actually see the video where you can see the sequence in the battle of these weapons firing. You'll just see them like plink, 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 like that over 3 seconds. So it's 1 shot for all 3 weapons during 3 seconds, and that's your damage interval. And then, that's the damage delay. And then in the case of the FG300A against the Rager, it's dealing 20 damage. This is due to the fact that the Rager has an armor of 5, so 5 damage is being mitigated by the armor and only 20 damage is being received. The projectile can miss its target, and as we can see here, it's missed 3 shots. This function is linked to the hit rate of the weapon, which varies according to the family of attacked ships. In the case of this weapon against frigates, the hit rate is 70%. With a verification with the FG300 SG 1150 goes as such. 983 times 3 attack equals 2,949. The success of 20 damage is 20,080, which means the hit rate is 20,080. These are the ship HPs. Divided by 29,049, which means that we have a 70.5% hit rate over the battle. This is quite obvious. You do multiple calculations here and you'll see it. It's quite easy to calculate that, which means we can now calculate the hit rate for all ships, which may take a very, very long time because there's a lot of ships, a lot of different weaponry on ships. But I will see if I can work out doing that at some point. I don't currently have all the ships myself, but we might be able to test this and go through them all. So the cycle acts exactly as the installation for the Rager. 2 installations, 2 cycles, 4 hits. So that's quite nice and simple. And we can see here that if we look at the HP, the 2 Ragers gradually lose their HP. Reaper A is attacked by all FG300s, and finally Reaper B. So you can see where the Ragers, which got split fired on, slowly losing the HP. And then we can see later on that the Reaper gets attacked, and then the final Reaper gets attacked by all ships firing at it, which gives it a much larger, steeper trajectory on the graph. So when the ship dies, all weapons that had that target start new target acquisition process, and then we would go back up to the top of the start where we started from with the target acquisition, and we follow the same way through. We get target acquisition into weapon attacks, into ship dead, back to the top to target acquisition, weapon attacks till ship dead. So it's quite a simple battle, but it teaches a lot about the battle mechanics, the sort of basic battle mechanics anyway. And we conclude that the display of the battle is close to what is happening on the NetEase server, is not only a simulation, but uses the data calculated by the server, which means it should be pretty accurate. We can apply this exact same strategy to all ships and all weapon types within the game. Again, we should be able to now be able to calculate, thankfully, some of these hit rates and some of these hidden mechanics that we're not quite sure of, and eventually be able to calculate things like missiles, aircraft evasion, enhancement systems like increased hit rates and stuff like that, and even critical damage. So again, big shout out to Null Pointer. This is absolutely incredible information that he's managed to get hands on, and we'll be able to use this for a lot of really cool videos doing comparisons of weapons and weapon damage and hit rates and doing enhancement systems. Are they worth it? Maybe ship upgrade paths are better on hit rate over damage and cooldown. So we'll be able to do some really cool stuff with that for certain. We can also prove to the devs that aircraft AA damage doesn't work correctly. Anyway, Again, shout out to Null Pointer. I'll leave this in the description below so you can have a read through it yourself and you'll be able to find all this cool stuff out. And yeah, have a good one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.